Good evening, everyone, and welcome into today's video. Today's video is going to be our first Titan build. We are going to be covering Behemoth Titan, Stasis Titan, which I now believe, with the right build, is just as, if not better than Revenant. The super does more damage than the Revenant super does. The neutral game, if you spec into Diamond Lance and you use a Stasis weapon with it, is insane. You can literally just go from Diamond Lance to Diamond Lance to Diamond Lance and just keep everything frozen near you. If you use Fizzers and Shards, you can keep a Dust Field up super all the time, and then you can just always have all of your neutral game up all the time if you run Heart of Endless Life. Well, let's go ahead and head into this build. Alright, first up, we're going to cover the helmet. Our helmet for today is going to be on stasis. If your helmet is masterwork, mine isn't. Mine Titan doesn't have enough masterwork materials to have everything masterwork and the right stuff. If your helmet is masterwork on stasis, I would recommend running a power preservation here because your super is a very good roaming super, and you can run power preservation to help get your teammates orbs if you're in a team activity. If not, then all you need is a Well of Restoration, the 4-cost stasis elemental well mod, and then whatever stat mod you need to get as close to 100 recov and 100 discipline. I'm only running, if I remember correctly, about 70 discipline here, and y'all can see how often I have my dust field. I'm only running about 3 or 4 strength. Also, run about 100 recovery, to be exact 99 because my gear's not masterworked, but about 100 recovery. That is all for our helmets. We're going to move on to the arms. I have the arms on solar today. They have a bountiful wells on to help have enough elemental wells when you create them from your weapon kills. And then I have a recov mod on. Obviously, if you want to run the impact induction, which melee damage would give you more grenade energy, which melee damage would count every time you do the slide melee, which you see me doing. And then also, you could run any champion mods you need to run here. I have it open for champion mods on purpose because, as I've stated in other videos, I don't dictate your arm mods because I know champion mods are so important in endgame content, and I do actually think this build is endgame good if you learn how to play it in that content. Next up, we have our exotic and our chest piece. Our exotic today is going to be Heart of Inmost Light. Heart of Inmost Light is the most underrated Titan exotic in the game, in my opinion, for PvE content. I know there's people out there who have mentioned it in PvP and have, done videos with it in PvP. But as you can see right here, I have 2 barricades up before one's even gone down. This exotic has a really nice flow to it. You pop an ability, it gives you increased damage and cooldown for the other 2 abilities. You pop another ability, it gives you now ×2 for the other 2 abilities, and you get, like, it's not like a little bit of increased cooldown, it's a lot of it. Like, you have ridiculous cooldowns on your abilities when you have the buffs up for the empowered, whichever of the 3 abilities you're running. And they're fast, like, they're really fast. I think this exotic is going to be S+ tier heading into Void 3.0, where having all of your abilities up at all times is going to be really important. And I also think another exotic that will be for a build next week is also going to be S+ tier, but I'm not going to spoil that. Alright, we're going to move on to the pants now, the boots. The boots I have on Void, because I don't feel like Void works anywhere else on this class. You kind of need your helmet to be on stasis. Dynamo isn't going to really help you, because you're not going to really pop your barricade like that around a whole bunch of enemies. You're gonna more use it just to pop it, just get the cooldowns. You're not gonna really use it as a defensive tool. You're kind of just popping it to pop it. I have protective light on, a better already, and then a recovery mod. Obviously, the protective light here is just being helpful. On the chest piece, I forgot to mention this. I have an elemental charge to help you get charged with light for the future. So you get charged with light from elemental charge, pick those elemental wells, and then you have a protective light on, so that way if you do get one shot for some reason, if your health goes into that red section, you can easily just live through everything else and come out of it alive. That is it for our boots. Lastly, we have our class item, which I have elemental armaments on, and I have particle deconstruction on. In a non-particle deconstruction season, if your armor just doesn't have the stats that can give you 100 discipline, 100 recov, I would still recommend 100 discipline here. If you can get to 100 discipline, I would use the glacier grenades over dust fields. I think glacier grenades are really good right now. Unless you're on super high-end in-game content, and then I would use dust fields, because dust fields are too good in GM level content. But that's all for the class item. Obviously, if you're in a non-particle deconstruction season, you can throw on a bomber here. You can throw on stat mods. The most important things are the particle deconstruction and the elemental armaments to create your orbs of elemental orbs, so that way you can get up those abilities just a tiny bit faster if you can't get them. Also helps you get charged with light, which is the main purpose of the elemental armament. The elemental orbs here is to help you become charged with light, because in the future you're not going to be able to just come charged with light from creating all the orbs that you see me creating, because they won't be created quite as often. That is it for the armor on this build. I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Endgame, so that way I can break down the class and show you what I'm running over there on the class for fragments, aspects, and the neutral game stuff. And welcome in, everybody. Okay, we're now here in the game, and I'm going to go over what I'm running on the class. Okay, so the two aspects I'm running, first is Diamond Lance. Diamond Lance just got a huge buff when the 30th anniversary update came out. They made it so that you can get the Diamond Lance to spawn every single time, or every 6 seconds technically. You get a stasis weapon kill. This gave it a huge buff, because Diamond Lance was probably the best part about this class in PvE. And now that you can get one every 6 seconds, on the dot, with just a primary weapon kill, it buffed the crap out of this class. The second thing I'm running is I'm running the Howl of the Storm. Oh, they also gave Diamond Lance 3 fragment slots, which is also a huge buff. It used to give you 1. It now gives you 3, which is a huge deal. I'm also running the Howl of the Storm aspect. I was running Tectonic Harvest, but I felt like these stasis shards weren't doing enough for me. And the only real reason to run this would be to run a slightly different build where you don't need to run elemental armaments to spawn those elemental wells, but you kind of want to run elemental armaments because you kind of want to run a stasis primary because of how good Diamond Lance is. So I'm running Howl of the Storm. The slide melee is shockingly good. I think it actually makes the melee better. And those crystals actually get a damage bonus from Heart of Inmost Light, so they're super-sized crystals. They do insane damage. And then that also helps you create the crystals to help keep Whisper of Shards up. My fragments are chains. Chains is a staple for me on most stasis builds. You get a pretty good damage resistance, get 10 recovery. Pretty much no reason not to, at least. If you don't know what else to run on your build for stasis, there's no reason not to have at least chains on. I have Torment on, so every time I take damage, I'm going to get a little bit of grenade energy. It's not a lot, but it's some. It adds up pretty fast. And I actually think this is based off the total damage you take. So, like, when you're in easy content, this is kind of meh. But, like, when you're, like, a GM content and, like, you get red barred by, like, an overload or something, I think it's based off the total damage number, not the total damage output. Like, total damage you actually take per shot, not the, like, total damage taken, like, total to your health. So, like, if you get hit by something that does a lot of damage to you all at once, it's going to give you more grenade energy. Then I have Whisper of Refraction. Anytime I defeat a slowed or frozen target, it's going to give me class ability energy. This helps give me my class ability, which, as I said, I'm literally just throwing up to get my grenade and melee back as fast as possible. And then I'm running Shards and Fissures. Fissures is mostly to help with the Headstone Crystal. The Headstone Crystal, as I stated in my Warlock video, my Warlock Stasis, my Shadebinder video, Whisper of Fissures buffs that Headstone Crystal. And so, if you're going to be running a Headstone weapon, you should be on Stasis, and you should probably be running Whisper of Fissures. Otherwise, Headstone's alright. But I really do think Headstone becomes top 3 perks in the game if you're on Stasis and you're running Fissures. Lastly, I am running Shards, because every time I shatter the crystal from my Headstone, weapon creation, the crystals I create from the slide melee here with Howl of the Storm, all those crystals will give me the increased grenade generation buff, which will help me get my dust field back as much as possible. If you're in super easy content, you could probably warrant going Glacier Grenade, because the Glacier Grenade is so dominant in those content, because you can just shatter it for free. If you're in hard content, I would probably stick with dust fields, because dust fields are more consistent. That is it for the class. Last things to note, this is my stat distribution, in case you're wondering. It's not perfect by any means. The goals would be probably more like 6 resil, 100 for recovery and discipline, and then as high strength as I could get while not suffering the intellect too low. You want to stick about 3-4 intellect on all your classes. You don't want to fall below that unless you can afford it, or you're on a super fast cooldown super, or something like where it doesn't really matter how low your intellect is, you're still going to get it ridiculously fast. That is it for the class breakdown, and now I'm going to head back to video self so I can give you some tips and tricks on running Behemoth. Okay, well, I'm back to video self. I just want to give you a rundown as the rest of the gameplay for this strike, and then like a shadow, so I can show off the damage of the super a little bit. I kind of show it off at the end, but it's not great. That's like the most underrated part, in my opinion, of this class, is the super damage. The super damage is nuts. The damage the super does is like up there with some of the best damage supers in the game. It's kind of insane, actually. A few tips for you. Pay attention to that 6-second counter. You can almost count it in your head. When you get really good with this class, you can kind of just count it. I'm not perfect with this class yet. I still have a lot of improvement I can do myself with it. But every time you get a frozen and then killed enemy, or a stasis weapon kill in that, after that 6-second cooldown, you'll have the diamond lance spawn for you. It's totally possible to have 2 of them spawn at a time. Something to remember, your teammates can pick them up, so like, if they pick them up, just let them. It doesn't hurt you. Like, they're just on the ground. They don't hurt you to have a teammate pick them up. You can let a teammate pick them up and throw them. They don't get your buff. They do get buffed by Heart of Inmost Light, and they also get buffed from Whisper of Fissures. So they won't get that buff, but they're still decent even without those buffs. Last couple things to note. If you get in a sticky situation, use the melee simply just to freeze the ads directly close to you, and then, or just to create the crystals so you can pop Whisper of Chains. So that way you can just get that damage resistance, so you don't have to worry about it. That is like really all I have for you. I'm still learning this class myself. I had never really played with this class in PvE until after the buff to Diamond Lance. I'm just starting to get comfortable with it. I think this build is really good, especially if a player can execute it really well. I think this build can be one of the best stasis builds in the game. If you play with your teammates, with like another stasis teammate, you could like do some like insane combo things where you like use warlocks with their thing that crawls across the ground that will freeze more targets when they can like pick up diamond lances and use that to freeze more targets. There are some insane things you can do when you work together. I do think this class now though is better than Revenant, especially after the 100 dodge nerfs. You just can't dodge and keep the slow dodge up enough anymore to like warrant running it, and I don't think the rest of the neutral game on that class is very good. Besides, like, okay, yeah, you have a dust field. The shurikens are okay for like long range freezes, but if you want long range freezes, the Diamond Lance can do it now, and you can do close range freezes with it, and you can spawn it every 6 seconds, which means you're gonna have more often. You have it up more often than any shuriken hunter is, even if they're running like melee dodge. That is it for the video. I hope everybody has enjoyed. I will see everybody on Friday for a new video. If you did enjoy this video, please do not forget to share it with your friends. Leave a like, and please do subscribe if you haven't already. Most of my views are coming from non-subscribed people, and I would appreciate it if everybody hit that subscribe button and helped me grow the channel. Alright everybody, enjoy the last 3 minutes of Lake of Shadows, and I will see everybody on Friday for a new video.